morning. Can you take your order, please?
Yes, good morning. Can I have a big breakfast, please?
Okay.
And then a sausage McMuffin with egg
Okay.
with iced coffee na rin also.
Okay. With hash brown, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. First window po. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. We're gonna need that for later.
Hurry up! Let's go.
What's that?
Alessandro's cake.
Ooh, rainbow.
Yeah, pretty. Put it in the back.
So, party?
Not just yet. We have a very, very quick errand to run. You know, Earl, I think it was Ferris Bueller that said it best, that life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop once in a while, you could miss it.
Ferris wheel?
However important forward movement is, you've got to be able to be sure that you can slow it down. Most especially when you're talking about a vehicle that you can't even fathom its weight.
Bosch Blue Line brake pads were created for the everyday driver.
Vehicle matched to optimize performance and are subject to additional tests that exceed statutory requirements. Bosch offers revolutionary engineering and advanced friction formulations for quiet and clean performance. Don't compromise your safety. Platform specific for improved braking performance, Bosch brake pads reduce rotor wear, all while increasing durability and stopping power, which provides better overall performance. Hey Earl, new brakes. You know what that means, right? Brake test. Squirrel! Ah! No. Well, that's not so bad. You think she'll notice? Kaya pa yan. Good brakes, though. Once upon a time, there was only one car that set the standard for on-road business class comfort, and we all know what that car is. Legend has it that the wait list would stretch the entire length of Skyway Stage 3 all the way up to Okada. And that was 5 years ahead of the competition. 5 years later, and a Cinderella story in tow, what was once a pumpkin has now turned into a beautiful carriage. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 2024 GAC M8 GX Master. And it is the absolute best, pinnacle, top-of-the-line, creme de la creme van that GAC has to offer. Good morning, sunshine. And on today's episode of Behind the Wheel, what we want to know is, well, does the glass slipper actually fit? Or is it just another fairy tale? Hey, seriously, where the hell have you been? Before we flip through the pages of this fairy tale, first, you gotta buy the book. So let's check its price on the Autodeal app, which is available on iOS and Android, and it's free to download, to find out just exactly what kind of premium this particular van falls under the GAC banner. A quick look will tell you that it starts at 2,998,000 Philippine pesos, and then it tops up at 3,998,000 Philippine pesos. The one we have here is the top spec trim, which means that it has all those who's its and what's its galore and all of the thingamabobs you could ever want in a car of this class. But is it worth it? Now, for all that money, you won't be outgunned as much. I mean, considering the fact that it's got all the bells and whistles inside the car, which obviously adds to its weight, it's still got a lot of firepower here underneath. Here, what you're looking at is a 2-liter, 4-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine that pushes out 248 horses and 400 Newton meters of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, it could have been bigger for better fuel consumption, but the fuel figures actually aren't so bad. Inside the city with heavy, and I do mean heavy traffic, we were doing roughly about 5 kilometers per liter. Better on the highway, between 9 and 10. Combined, you're looking at about 7. All things considered, with the weight and size of the automobile, that's actually not so bad. It's not a diesel, but hey, that's not bad. Ooh. It's classy, it's elegant, and it's well sculpted. 3 words that I never thought I'd use to describe a van. A sedan, yes, but never a van, really. It looks so darn good. Yet other people out there I know will say that it's a bit overdone. It's a copycat of the Alphard. Yes, I understand all of you, but it's put well together, isn't it? The front grille, extremely elegant, large, and the way that it drapes like a waterfall. The lights, very, very, very sharp. I like that. The DRLs that span more than the Montero's real taillights when it comes to the crying eyes kind of a bit. This part here, a little bit young, kind of looks like a rave, but still goes well with the overall look of the car. The chin quite down low, the hood ever so slightly out so it doesn't look snub-nosed, and a windshield that's large enough to be used as part of an aquarium. Now down the side, you'd expect to find the broad side of a barn and nothing more. Not on the M8. You've got lines, you've got skirts, you've got 18-inch wheels wrapped in 55 series tires with centers that are always upright. It's basically a Rolls Royce. The ground clearance is about 170, 180 millimeters only, so that seniors can easily get in and out. Egress is not a problem. You've got chrome on top of these large windows. You've got power sliding doors, not just on one side, but on both sides. And my goodness, look at the skirt, how it feels like it's just floating above the ground, and it comes all the way up to the rear. I like the fact that they did not make the side bland. It really does look classy. It looks like you want to take someone out to a fancy place. Oh my God, yes, Earl, I will take you to a fancy place for lunch. Can we finish with the review first, please? Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. At the rear, it's the same as the side. It's not at all boring. You've got cuts and textures. This entire panel illuminates your third brake light and camera up or on top. The rear overhang, though, is a bit long. So when you're going up parking garages in the city, do take care. When you do open her up with the power tailgate, which is available only on the top of the line, by the way, it'll reveal about 250, 275 liters of space, not milliliters, which is good enough for 2 overnight bags and a little bit more. Most definitely a wheelchair. If you need more space, when you turn it into like super limousine mode for just the captain's chairs up front, you can by folding these chairs back here, and they do tumble over. The thing about when they tumble over, however, is that it eats up a little bit of space in the sense that the anchors found down below are surrounded by plastic cladding. So you can load balikbayan boxes, not an issue, but it's just not flat, along with this small lip right here. But when in normal mode, or rather when you're seating it at maximum capacity, I guess the space is more than decent for everybody inside, which is exactly what I want to show you now, because I'm telling you, the seats here on the third row is most definitely not an afterthought. And it's not just comfortable for somebody of my size, but even larger people as well. The third row of the M8 is absolutely comfortable. One of the most comfortable third rows that I've ever been in, and I'm not exaggerating. Look, I do understand that taller people might have an issue with the fact that the seat is low and their knees are quite high, but by having a low seat, which means that you can have a great amount of headroom. This legroom that I have right now, this passenger right here, this is them seating extremely comfortable, and yet I still have space to cross my legs in the third row. Now this will obviously sit 3 passengers, but if you're just 2 back here, check it out. Third row has an armrest. And that's not all. There are bottle holders on either side and charging points on either side, both of them type A 5-volt chargers. This is just ridiculous. Plus you have aircon vents up on top. Without a doubt, if we were stuck in Metro Manila traffic or I had to endure, quote unquote, this seat on a long drive, I wouldn't have any issues. Not at all. And I wouldn't get dizzy either too because the glass out here is actually pretty big. It's great. You gotta try this. But then of course the second row is much better. The second row, however, oh man, this is where the boss's boss sits. This for me just feels like super VIP. And the star of this show is not just the fact that they're captain's chairs, but they're powered captain's chairs with a massage function. I'll get to that in a little bit. First, the amount of space that you have. Like I said, that's already a generous amount for the person in the back. Here, I've got still a lot of space from someone that's like my height driving. And look at this, it's ridiculous. I can cross my legs at some point, not just cross my legs or de cuatro, but I can stretch it out. Look at that. Amenities all around the car. You've got a large window that goes up and down, mind you. Check that out. The window actually goes up and down. That large pane. Privacy shade, that's nice. You've got lights here, like as if you're in the cabin of an airplane. Air vents here, air controls found up on top. Down below, you've got charging points here, Type A and Type C, and then a cubby hole found here in the center. More cup holders can be found at the base of the chair that open up as if out of nowhere. And then also, the best in-car tray table I have ever seen in any automobile ever. Because look at this. This is better than some of the tray tables that you get on business class flights. And I'm talking about Emirates. Look at this. It's strong enough that you can put a laptop on. Look at that, man. That is just crazy good. And I'm not done. Not only is this cabin ridiculously comfortable during the day, but also at night, because the etching that I was talking about here, that illuminates at night and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The creme de la creme though has got to be the power seats that you have here, which are controlled by this function pad right here, where I can move the chair forward and back. I can lean back if I wanted to. I can tilt the chair forward and whatnot. But the real killer for me is, if you don't have anybody sitting behind you, of course, is the fact that this has not just cooled and warm seats, but it also has a spa function. Now, when you click the spa function button, it reclines like there's no tomorrow, and then it brings the ottoman up, and then it's got a massage function in the back. Oh, Nelly. Now, it's obviously not an awesome, but it's pretty awesome to have inside a car.
Okay, cut. Let's get a move on. Come on. It's kind of late already.
Wait, stop. Ikaw nakatulog ka na, ako wala pa. Please.
Fine. What about me?
Earl, I will buy you whatever food that you want from any fancy. Just Before I was rudely interrupted, I wanted to say that there's also charging points, more of them, on the seats itself. Huh? Jack's looking at me really bad. Okay, sitting up front, I gotta tell you, there's a lot going on here. Some people might find it a little too much, others, it's okay. It's basically like art. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. I'm okay with it. Some of it is a little bit extreme. Let me go through some things for you. Like, for instance, this panel right here. This is actually veneer. It's real veneer. It's not like plastic or faux carbon fiber. No, it's real veneer. And the pattern that you get here on this panel, you can actually see it on the seats inside the car. Pretty cool. There's also a lot of piano blacks, which I'm not a fan of. It's a bit extreme when it comes to the crystal that's found right here in the shifter, which is the same as the crystal that's found here at the back. Lots of cubby spaces. this thing, I found Jack's hat. This is a huge cubby hole here in the center. Lots of cubby holes for your cups and whatnot. A little bit of space here, which is also wireless charging, which maybe we should not keep coins there. That would be a bad idea. Zzz, zzz, kind of a thing. There's even more space found underneath with charging points there, both Type A and Type C. Is it? Yes, Type A and Type C, and 12-volt socket. And of course, a cabin that's big enough to store even Jack's moderate-sized bottle. Jack, what happened to the big boy?
I'm a more humble man now.
Oh, he's humble now.
The accident humbled me.
The accident did humble him. I tell you what's not humbling, the amount of screens that you have inside this car. Let's start from up top. This rear view mirror is actually a monitor to see out back, so it's unimpeded by whoever it is inside the car. You've got a large pane sunroof for yourself, for the front two passengers. Air vents that are on the car that look like it's not just one, but it's two on the sides. They're huge air vents. Huge are the screens. You have more than 12 inches for your your instrument cluster here up front for the driver, which is colored, by the way, and you think that's big enough. This thing is over 14 inches big. This is bigger than the very first television that I got me and my wife Lisa in our first apartment. How sad is that? It's very sad. It does have a reverse camera, which is great, but not everything in here is, well, fantastic. Number one is that connectivity issues are a bit of a problem since it does have Apple CarPlay, so yay for Jack. But unfortunately for people like me and Earl who are Android, we have Car BitLink, which is kind of clunky, but it gets the job done. Also, when you get into the main meat of the system, to control some of the functions of the car, there are several layers that you have to go through, and a lot of redundancies too. Like, for instance, you can control the rear seats for the passengers, like the massage function and whatnot, and the cooling and whatnot, through this system here. It's a bit of an overkill, but okay, it's there. But again, some of the redundancies there could have been removed to make way for maybe Android Auto? I don't know. Then there's also the fact that the English translations inside the system kind of take away from the overall refinement of the automobile, ever so slightly, because there's really a lot of refinement to go around the car. But I'll tell you what is very refined: the seats, the comfort of the seats, the telescopic steering with the proper driving position, the quietness of the cabin. It's really a great car to sit in and to be driven in. Hey, there's an idea. Before we do like and subscribe to our videos because we create all of them just for you. But like I said, to be driven in, I want to be in the back and tell you what the back is like while we're on the road. Oh, Earl, you're driving. Yes. Again, it's really business class back here. I've had the opportunity to be really lucky to get on a flight and ride business class, and I can tell you these chairs, the width and the comfort, really do feel like they belong on a plane. It's really amazing. And then some in this thing. The total ride quality, it's very serene. It's very quiet. The engine is super quiet. The lights in here, the ambience, everything is really nice. And it's super quiet too because GAC has put soundproof glass inside this thing. So even up front where Facundo himself is driving, is actually very quiet. In terms of how does it fare against the market leaders, I guess would be the very big question. Now, I obviously won't be able to tell you how it goes up against, say, the Lexus. But against the Toyota, the Alphard, I think it holds itself very well, and in some cases, even better. Some cases, not as good. For instance, in the Alphard, the seats, the captain's chairs, can separate from each other a little bit more, allowing that much more room for the passengers to be able to access the third row a heck of a lot easier. Here, you can't. It doesn't move side to side, but as we mentioned earlier, it does have cool seats with a massage function, and that really spells volumes. It really does. You know, with all the toys available back here, the one thing that they did leave out was for the passengers here to be able to control the audio settings. Now, it may not seem like a lot, but truly, if you are the boss, you want to be able to, let's say, get some silence if you need to take an important phone call. Yes, I do realize that the driver can obviously do that for you if he senses or hears that you're on the phone, but just the fact that you have control over it would have been nice. It's not going to be a magic carpet, so to speak, if you're riding back here. You will still feel a few bumps on the road. Nothing harsh though, and it also all depends on the road surface that you're going to be traveling on. If we're on the highway, one of the major highways of the Philippines, then obviously it's not going to be an issue. When we're here, the back roads of Tagaytay going uphill, it might be a little bit bouncy, but nothing that you're definitely not used to, and most definitely a lot more comfortable than even a crossover. Possibly even more comfortable than a sedan, I think. That's probably made apparent because, well, in a sedan, you're much cramped, and here you just have a lot more room and a lot more suppleness, really. Ay, nako, it's just such a pleasant experience to be back here. Except maybe for who the driver is. And even if you did have, say, minor bosses, in my case, it's a 10-year-old frenemy that is always broke but thinks that I'm an ATM machine. If she were sitting back there, no complaints whatsoever. Sound as a pound, and plus you've got those ports to charge your devices and whatnot. I don't see anybody complaining by sitting back there. In fact, I want to go back there. Yep, no complaints from back here. So comfortable. I've never been in the third row and not complain. What the hell is going on?
You said you're gonna bring us to somewhere nice.
Yeah. Fine. Get up to the top of Tagaytay Road and hang a left.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Just make it snappy.
It's raining.
Gentlemen, I'm so glad you guys are here. We're not exactly going to go into Escala. I came here to prove a point, really. Do me a favor and open up your trays. Quickly. Earl, big breakfast for you. Jack, sausage McMuffin with egg. And of course I didn't forget the hash browns.
Wow.
Now,
They're soggy. It's cold. And the bread is like rock hard.
quiet, children. I'm trying to make a point here. Now, the reason why I bought you guys this food is to make a point. Look, you've got your big breakfast, right? You've got your bread, which are muffins. You've got your eggs, your sausage patty, and even your hash brown. In the sausage McMuffin with egg, you've got the same things. It's just presented differently. If I were to put all the things together of the big breakfast, then basically wouldn't it look exactly like a sausage McMuffin with egg?
Where are you going with this?
Really? Never mind. Anyway, enjoy your lunch. I lied. There is budget to go to Escala, but there's only budget for one person. Me. So excuse me. Move. Take your food and move. Enjoy your lunch, boys. I'll be done in about an hour and a half. Don't leave the engine running because we're wasting fuel. And CO2 emissions and all that.
You know, this is not the first time he's done this, so not my first rodeo, as they say.
I'm calling HR. Cheers, I guess.
Oh god, it's so hard. It's so hard.
Check this out. Woo. Check on the boys. I can't believe those two left the car running. Do they think I'm made of money? I swear. Children. They're like my little frenemies. And what's more, the front seat of this thing ain't that bad. It's almost as good as the rear seats. I don't know what Earl was complaining about. Mr. Complainer, yeah, na 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 na. Now, on a more serious note, I did say that this car had firepower, and firepower it does have. It may be heavy, it may be large in size, but that 2-liter turbo, yeah, puts a pep in your step all right. For a van, that is. However, unlike other vans, this thing has got not just comfort mode and eco mode, it's also got sport mode. Now I know what you're thinking. What are you gonna do with sport mode in a van? Trust me, I was thinking the same thing. But then there is also the fact that you can keep it on sport so that the engine holds a couple of gears a little bit longer when you're going uphill or downhill. That's me just justifying sport mode, because I can't figure out how else to justify sport mode in a van. Unless, of course, you're chasing down your frenemies. Again with the frenemies thing. There's also cruise control, which is adaptive, by the way. I'm not a fan of adaptive cruise control, but I gotta tell you, using it, I had no qualms, no issues. It's actually better than most. I don't mean to backtrack, but going back to sport mode, I'm not necessary, but I'm glad that they give you the option, right? The weird thing is that you do have sport mode, but you don't have paddles on the steering wheel, none. And there are no, let's say, gears that you can select here on the shifter. So the sport mode is basically just the adjustment of your throttle response and your transmission, which, by the way, brings me nicely to the transmission. I gotta say, I am so happy that there isn't a CVT in this thing, although I don't think it could have, or a DCT. It is a traditional 8-speed automatic, and by goodness, it is one of the best things out there, because driving this thing is easy. The power comes in when you step on the accelerator. There's no spooling, there's no rubber band effect or anything. You step on it and it just goes as cleanly and quietly as possible. If there's anything that I would need calling back upon, is just exactly how the car will perform when it's fully loaded. Predominantly on this drive, it would be just Jack, Earl, and myself. How this will react with 7 people on board, a full complement of whatever luggage that you can put at the back, and a full gas tank, I guess that would remain to be seen. But I can tell you, if it's that comfortable now on a straight, with that many people, or rather with us as the complements, just the 3 of us, with that many people, with 7 people on board, yeah, this thing might be even smoother. That's just scary. There is also one other thing. It's sort of like a nitpick. As I turn the steering wheel now, we notice that there's a bit of a spring effect, that it kind of returns to the center faster than you're normally used to. It might shock you at first, but really it isn't much. Again, it's just something that I had to mention, because if you're gonna nitpick at something, it might as well be that. Very nice, as you were. The fact that GAC was able to produce a car something like this is really something spectacular. It says something about them. In one generational gap, they were able to achieve so much and cover so much ground for their really class offering. The term master really is deserved by this car. It's a master class. It's a fairy tale ending to a long story. But yet, it's not perfect. I mean, the infotainment system needs a lot of work. It doesn't have Android Auto, much like other cars in the GAC stable. And the fact that you're asking for 4 million Philippine pesos for this top of the line, well, GAC does have both feet in the Philippines firmly planted, but, you know, trust is not given overnight. It's earned. But if you get back to the basic of the automobile, which is it's luxurious, it's a quiet ride, the uniqueness of the interior, and everything else in between, I know this is a bad analogy, but think of it this way. If this is GAC's big breakfast, it's just the first meal of the day. I can't wait to see the rest of the menu.